Well, hello, my name is Pastor Brian, and want to welcome you to a conversation that we have with one of our current pastors and one of our former pastors. We want to talk about what the church has been like over the last 60 years for our 60th anniversary. I have a combined ministry experience here of 38 years.
38 years, yep.
These two gentlemen have served consecutively as pastors here for over half of the life of this church, and so we're blessed and honored to have them. I'm excited to have Pastor Alan Scott here, the current pastor of Oak Hill Baptist Church, and Pastor Glenn Flowers, the former pastor of Oak Hill Baptist Church.
Yes.
Welcome.
Glad to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glenn, you came to Oak Hill in 1985. What were some of the challenges you faced as a new pastor here?
We were looking for a home, and so they offered us to give us a parsonage. And so they gave us the parsonage for us to come, which is nice, and they remodeled it for us. And that was all taken care of, and we moved in, and it was a struggle for us because we thought we'd go to the south, back to Southern Church, and this one came along. So we struggled with it, but God had other purposes for us, and that was for us to come here.
Yeah.
And so it worked out that way, and it's been a great ministry. It really has. We enjoyed it, and it was good.
Well, Pastor Allen, what about you? You came in 2006. So what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges for me personally was following a pastor who'd been here 21 years. That was a little intimidating to think about that, but God was gracious and helped me with that. But as we came to the church, when I was interviewed, I just shared my heart, my convictions of ministry, and there were some things that did need to change in the church, that they were ready for change, and so I shared my heart about some of those things, and then we just, over the course of time, we made some key changes that had to happen. One thing is I wanted them to make sure that we understood the church was here not for just us, but for those who weren't here, and that we had to have an outward focus. And so we started doing things throughout the months and the years to get our focus on those who need to be in church and hear the gospel. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, I came about a year after you in 2007, and I remember that the church had hit a growth spurt in that time, and we were really looking forward to trying to make plans for the future and look at some of those things pretty quickly. And I just know it was an exciting time in the life of our church.
Yeah.
You go through different seasons, and I do remember there was a lot of good energy in that time.
Yeah, there was a lot of people stepped up. We're excited God started bringing more people to the church. We got a vision for something that would sustain us for the future. And people rallied behind. Really, the first building campaign we went into was in that 2007, 2008 period where we built really where we worship now. And so there was a lot of excitement around all that.
In 1988 and 1998, you guys have done two different projects. I think about that often because our children's ministry functions in a lot of those areas, and I'm so thankful to have all that space because you guys provided that so many years ago. We're in there because of you guys. So thank you for that.
That's good.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how God works throughout the years. And like I've always said, I mean, I've been here 17 years now, but everything that God's allowing us to do now was really built upon what was done in the previous years under the leadership of Glenn and Roy Jones and the other pastors that came to lead, and through the people of Oak Hill. And these investments have been made through the years to where now we even benefit still from, like you just said, the ministry space and all that. As I think when I came here back in 2006, as we started to grow, it was one of the moves we had to make was to, once again, we had to get into a building program because we were running out of space. And our situation at that time was we had multiple needs that were all just as important as the next. And so we presented to the church this idea of building a multi-purpose ministry space. And that was a key decision at that time for us. I really believe that, because there were those in the church that wanted a sanctuary, which I totally understand, you know. But there was no way for us just to build a sanctuary. So we built this multi-purpose space. I firmly believe that God has blessed that from 2008 all the way to 2023, to where we are seeing the building that we've built. That key move was not to just build a sanctuary, which would have made everybody comfortable, but to say, no, let's build something strategic that God could use for years to come. And that's what he's been doing. And so we benefit from that, because out of that flows all of our ministries, especially to young families and children, whether it's Awanas or upper basketball and cheerleading, whatever it may be. That space has really helped us. But that was a key move that God led us to, and that the people supported, even when it maybe was not some of their first preferences.
Yeah.
And that was really a key move at the time. It really helped sustain us. So, and I'll just put a little plug in for you, Glenn, not that you're looking for it, but you know, pastors can learn a lot of how they leave by how Glenn left.
Yeah.
Because he left loving the people, trying to set the people up for where God was going to take them. And that was a gift to the church, and it was a gift to the pastor that followed you too. So thank you for that. It was, absolutely was.
What do you think Oak Hill needs to go into the future for, say, another 60 years? What do you think it's going to take?
You know, if the ministry at Oak Hill can continue to grow like it has, and can be established, become a part of Evansville, a unique place in Evansville, can be that strong church that can be an example that people want to come to and be a part of. People are getting so far away from going to church.
Yeah.
And to be able to get them to want, to desire to be here, and to have an atmosphere where they can really feel the presence of the Lord, you know, it's so necessary right now. And I see Oak Hill maybe being that church that can do that. And it's going to have to accomplish something that is beyond me, because it's beyond what I can imagine, because it's gotten more at that time. But with the things that's happening and the way things are changing, is I see the Oak Hill just moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's really beyond any of us, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not beyond God. That's the thing.
Right. It's not beyond
So-
God. That's the thing. It's not beyond God.
Right. So in that, I'm thankful that our church has grown throughout the years.
Yeah.
But as I look forward, more important than growth is faithfulness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because as we go forward, the main thing we've got to do is what we're offering our community is the truth of God's word.
Yes.
That's right.
And that God will bless and honor that.
Yes.
Whether we are numerically growing or not, or we're spiritually growing, but we've got to stay centered on that going into the future, no matter what that means. And if that means that you could attract a larger crowd if you didn't talk so much about the scriptures, then I would say let's talk about the scriptures and not worry about the crowd, because we've got to keep the word
That's right.
in the forefront, centered on that.
Yeah, God's always been faithful to us. And I think for us to go into the future, we have to remain faithful to Him.
That's right.
And that's what's going to stand the test of time. Faithfulness to Him, faithfulness to His Word. And so we need to be pastors that stand on the truth of the Word, and to keep the Word before our people in every way, that's what's going to sustain us going forward.
Yeah. The question is not, will God be faithful to us?
Right.
We know that.
Yeah.
The question is, will we be faithful to Him?
That's right.
And that's what we got to set our mind on, and we got to set our face toward that. And no matter what swirls in the culture around us, we've got to make our aim and our goal to be faithful.
Yeah. Well, church family, I think you've seen the heart of these pastors here tonight, and you've seen that we've had some great godly leadership these many years, and we're so thankful for all that God has brought us through. Continue to pray for our church. We want to make sure that we go forward in faithfulness to God, as He's always faithful to us.